Ever wondered why a paperclip looks the way it does? Why that tiny bent wire and not something else? Turns out, the first patent for a bent wire clip was filed in 1867 by a man named Samuel Fay, who was actually trying to tag fabric, not paper.
AhaDoodles.
Back then, messes weren't just on desks. Laws in Prussia even required rail clerks to sew papers together to stop them scattering. Then along came Johan Vaaler in 1899, Norway's patient inventor, who sketched a double-loop design that would finally tame the paper chaos. Before Vaaler's brainstorm, the gem clip, designed by English minds in the 1870s, was already quietly holding papers, glinting like tiny silver superheroes. By the late 1800s, paper stab wounds were such a nuisance that some desk jockeys resorted to sewing needles or even silk thread to keep things together. Office arts and crafts, anyone. Fay's tag clip sold like hotcakes. Over 15,000 shipped from a tiny Massachusetts factory in just 1 year. Yet it still couldn't tame a stack of papers without a wrestling match. Meanwhile, in Norway, Johan Vaaler filed a patent for a squiggly wire that couldn't even hug a single sheet without a fight. His patent, a single loop of wire bent into a triangle, one sharp point to pierce fabric, 2 arms to grip the ticket. But here's the twist. Clerks didn't want to poke holes in their precious papers. They wanted to clip, not stab. So Fay's genius invention, mostly ignored in offices. It became a ticket clip, not a paper clip. Still that triangle. The first true bent wire grip. The shape that started it all. Johan Vaaler's 1899 design was clever, but it couldn't grip firmly enough to go viral. Like inventing a selfie stick that drops your phone. In fact, Middlebrook didn't just patent a paperclip machine in 1899. He added a twist, literally, creating the double-loop design we all recognize today. But here's the twist. Fay's 1867 clip wasn't even for papers. It started as a way to tag textiles, proving multitasking hacks existed pre-smartphones. Turns out, Johan's 1899 doodle was basically a wire pretzel. Google Maps for paper. If Google Maps sent you in circles. It wasn't better. It wasn't even new. The gem clip had been sitting in offices for years. Turns out, the real 1899 patent belonged to a Brit, Gem Manufacturing's George Griffiths, who called it a little wire hug for your papers. Then came WWII, and suddenly, that flimsy patent became a symbol. Overnight, Oslo's streets glowed with 30,000 paperclips, each one a shiny middle finger to swastikas, pinned on lapels like tiny metal emojis of defiance. Vaaler, he never made a clip, never profited, but his name, now tied to resistance. Enter William Middlebrook, Connecticut Yankee, 1899, who stamped out the gem's perfect double loop on a machine so fast it could clip a stack of tax forms before your phone autocorrects Vaaler to viral cat video. But surprise, Johan's design wasn't quite practical. While the gem clip from Birmingham was already gliding through papers like a Victorian roller coaster. Instead, it seems the gem clip quietly emerged from British factories in the 1870s, back when organization meant wrangling papers, receipts, and tea stains. No patent, no grand reveal. They just needed something that worked, and this double oval shape. It did. 2 full loops, 1 smooth bend. The wire's tension grips paper like a tiny spring. No glue, no staples, no fuss. And the edges, rounded. No snags, no torn paper. Just a silent, perfect grip. Offices noticed. By 1900, gem clips were everywhere, because they just worked. By 1910, the gem had even ousted straight pins in London offices, because nobody wants a poke in the thumb. And yeah, Vaaler's clip, still lost to history. But the gem, it's the one on your desk right now. So the gem clip rules the desk. No patent, no tweaks, just 2 loops and a spring. But big business noticed. If the gem's free, how do you sell a paper clip? Then came the great clip-off of 1901, when a co-lawyers went toe-to-toe with Gem's designers over who could bend a wire the most profitably. Gem's 1903 champion clip had a double loop, like a tiny wire hug for your papers. But the double loop was a paper party trick. Norwegian inventor Johan Vaaler's 1899 single-loop design flopped because it kept popping off like a bad Wi-Fi signal. Turns out the Gem's genius was its flaw. It did one thing perfectly. No upgrades needed. By 1950, the over-engineered clips were gone. The Gem, still on every desk. But here's the twist. Vaaler's 1901 patent wasn't even practical. It lacked the inner loop that keeps papers snug, like a taco missing the shell. Vaaler's design may have flopped, but British engineer Samuel Fay's 1867 clip design paved the way for the modern paper clip's signature twist. Those two full loops. They're not just for looks. They spread the pressure evenly, like a tiny suspension bridge for paper. And the steel, cold drawn, stretched under tension until it's stronger than a paperweight but still bendy. Bend it 12 times. It snaps. But for 120 years, that's been enough. Turns out, Vaaler's 1899 patent was basically a square with a tail, like a paperclip trying to do the Macarena without legs. But here's the kicker. Vaaler's design never took off. Meanwhile, the British-crafted Gem clip quietly stole desks worldwide by 1900. No patent needed. The Gem secret. It's just a spring in disguise. Bend it and it fights back, gripping paper without glue or staples. And yeah, it's still made the same way. One wire, 3 bends, 300 clips per minute. No upgrades needed. Turns out, Fay's clip was just the warm-up act. Norway's Johan Vaaler filed his loop-year design in 1899, but the U.S. Patent Office yawned and said, "Meh, seen that in a junk drawer." But the real game-changer, William Middlebrook of Connecticut, patented the first machine to mass-produce paper clips in 1899, because hand-bending each one. No thanks. Middlebrook's 1899 machine, nicknamed the Twister, chugged out 60 clips a minute in a Waterbury factory, so loud it could drown out your teacher's no phones lecture. But here's the twist. Norway's Johan Vaaler designed an early paperclip in 1899, though his version couldn't grip papers as snugly. And here's the kicker. It costs less than a penny to make. Factories spit out 300 per minute. No upgrades needed. That bendy brainchild actually debuted in 1867. Patented by Samuel Fay in Massachusetts as a ticket fastener, not a paperclip, because even geniuses need a side hustle. By 1892, Norwegian Johan Vaaler, who never even saw a gem, patented his own paperclip in Germany, but his version was basically a bent coat hanger with commitment issues. Fun fact, the Gem's design was so good, the British War Office ordered 11 million clips in WWII, enough to stretch from London to Berlin and back if you unbent every last one.